nothing like living a simple life. Something out those aches and pains from working on the farm.
Hey guys, it's Eric here at Farpoint Farms. Check it out. Diesel heaters. Except this one is going to be used for waste oil / diesel heating. This is going to be the main primary source of heat for my studio. I picked this up from Vavor, you know those guys. They make all kinds of stuff. 8 kilowatt hour is the one I got, and of course it has a different one on the main picture here, but it gets into install for every single one of these, and they're really cool. So the main unit is there. I'm already working on a box. I'm going to place this thing outside, run one of these. I'm not going to, it has a splitter here. You can run 2 different vents if you want to split your airflow, but I'm just going to run one. I'm going to drill a hole through my floor. That's going to be my vent. We'll hook it up in there, run that out to the main unit outside, and we are going to have heat. And so it's a pretty cool setup. Comes with plenty of fuel line. That's the only part I don't have laying on the table right now, but here it is right here. This is a pretty good size 10-liter diesel fuel tank. I'm going to just bolt that to the side of the box that I'm creating. And so it comes with everything you need. Fuel line clamps. This base plate here bolts onto the bottom there to keep heat away from any wooden structure that you got going on, because it does create some heat. Of course, we got exhaust and our muffler to quiet it down, plenty of fuel line, a little fuel filter, which was kind of nice. This one includes. There's our fuel pump, the wiring that goes to it, and the wiring to power the unit, which is really convenient that it has all that in there as well. Of course, it comes with plenty of clamps, our air intake and a muffler for that, and then the fuel pump itself, plus the nuts and bolts and zip ties and such. It's a little bit of a creativity here. Now you can set this up. So I bought one of these a while back for my van, the camper van, on my other channel I'm working on. And that one's going to be installed inside with the exhaust dumping outside. This one here for the building, I figured why not put the whole unit outside, keep the noise down, keep the smell down, and just run the hot air in. And so that is what I'm going to do. You can see I've already started here. Here's my bottom plate, and I'm going to mount my metal bracket there, run my hoses through that. We have enough room to mount this, our fuel pump, and just a few other little things in here safely. And we're going to build that box around this base plate. This will sit outside. So through the magic of the internet, I will show it to you assembled. Let's do it. All right, so let's take a look at this real quick. Here's where we're at so far. So I built this little box here, and of course, I'm going to paint all this to match later on, but here's our main unit. There's our air intake and our fresh air intake. And you can kind of see I've drilled some holes there to allow fresh air to get in there. Our fuel pump, our lines go down and back up. And then I've got our lines, power, they're going to go into the building. Over here on this side, we've got our heat. And what I'm going to do is push that up underneath the building and drill a hole there. And then here's our exhaust here. Just kind of hangs freely, doesn't touch anything that would cause a fire. We'll have to move those leaves out of the way. My biggest concern, of course, is that exhaust, but we'll see what happens after a little bit of runtime. Now the next thing I have to do is, the scary part, I have to drill a hole in my nice, beautiful floor, but I've got to do that 3-inch hole in order to fit my hot air duct in. And once I'm done with that, well, we'll put some fuel in the fuel tank and fire this thing up. Let's do it. Well, this is a bit rough right now, but here's our vent coming in. I've got power over here, a little Radio Shack amp, and I am ready to turn this thing on. It's a little hard to see, but we'll go ahead and turn it on. I've got gas in outside. We'll go outside and cool. And we're going to turn this up. Okay, so we're all the way up. 19 degrees Celsius. It's on high. I can feel air already. So let's go outside and see how long it takes to prime it. I also may have the fuel pump hooked up backwards, in which case it'll never prime. But let's find out. Okay, not sure if you can hear it. Hooked up here. Alright, so I've got the fuel hooked up here and just temporary drop line here. I'm going to replace that with higher quality line. But we've got our box set up. It's going through a warm-up phase on the inside, and hopefully in a second or two we should have ignition. At least I hope so. Fuel pump hasn't started clicking yet, but I imagine that'll happen shortly. So we'll just sit here and wait for this to... Oh, I hear something. Aha. I hear something. So she's attempting to start. Feeling a little bit of warm air starting to come out there, so I think we do have ignition, although it's still, well, that's might be hard to see. We're still pulling in air. Hasn't fully got the air out of the system, so it's going to take it a while to bleed all that, I imagine. But once it gets through that and gets a solid line, we should be good to go. Okay, so it's on. Tank's 3/4 full. You can hear the pump running. And there is hot air coming out of the exhaust, so I've got a thermal thermometer inside. I got a thermometer in there. We're going to go ahead and plug that in and see what we got. Okay, so inside, pretty quiet. Pretty quiet. And, oh yeah, we've got hot air blowing out of there for sure. I don't know if you can hear that or not. But nothing terrible. Let me get my no contact thermometer and let's see what we got coming out of there. All right, so we're gonna go ahead. Hopefully you can see that. $164 degrees, 170. Yeah, 170. Incredible. Not bad at all. Yeah, 170. Wow, okay. Well, I guess that's it. I'm gonna leave it at that for today. Of course, I'll do a follow-up here, but I mean, holy cow. Yeah, she just works, and that's what I was hoping for. So I've got, can't see it right there, the exhaust. I've got a monitor heater that is going to be for the shop side of things, and it'll keep the temperature, you know, I'm trying to keep it at about 55 this winter, or 50 at the lowest, just so I don't have to warm up everything too much. And I'm going to be putting a tank right there and running that. But I knew having insulated walls and everything that the studio itself would be suffering and it wouldn't get enough heat. So here we are. Here's our solution. We've got the ability to get extra heat in there using this Vavor 8 kilowatt, which is about 11,000 BTU heater. There's not much to it. I'm gonna let this thing run. I'll probably open the windows up because it's like 54 right now outside, so it's not exactly a cold day. But I want to let this thing run for a good long while and make sure there's no issues, because last thing I want to do is come out here when it's 10 degrees outside and have to deal with it then. So I'll let it run all day here. We'll get maybe half a tank through that. That should run out any kind of problems we might have. And then we'll see where that takes us. I'll leave a link where you can get one of these. I really am pleased with it so far. The fact that it's putting out 170, 175 degree heat. That's going to warm up that building real quick. And my understanding is these things use very little diesel as they run, maybe 0.1 gallon per hour or something insanely low like that. The only concern I have, again, is the heat coming off of that muffler. It backs up to the woods here. I'd hate to have a fire or anything, but I'll be here today to make sure that, at least today anyway, it's safe. Till next time, my friends, take care.